Hey everyone, my name is Gabriella Vanema and welcome back to this channel where we talk about saving the planet with one small step at a time. Now, I'm making this video because a lot of you guys have still been asking why to go zero waste and why to make this lifestyle change. And that's what this video is going to be all about. Now, let's get straight into it, guys. This is Xena. She's our 13, 14, she's either 13 or 14, I can't remember, but she's a Collie Great Bernese Mountain Dog. And she's beautiful. I actually have 3 dogs. I'm fostering one right now, but they're very active, so I only want to take her on this walk to film today. Come on, Xena. So I just walked down the street, and this is almost to the corner of my street, and I see a lot of garbage already. I live in the middle of a city, and we have recycling bins as well as shared garbage bins. Those big green bins you see right there, those are the shared ones we have. And I see just all kinds of garbage. Socks, tires, a bunch of tires right there. I see, oh, come on, Xena, come on, Xena, come on, come on, come on. I see diapers, McDonald's bags, bed sheet containers right there, bed springs, or couch springs, I think that is, yeah, that's a big couch. Food containers, pizza boxes, just so much garbage. And I'm not going around and making this video to try and make people feel bad for having so much waste. That's not my goal. That's not my intention. That's not what I want to do. It's not their fault. It's not anyone's fault in particular. It's just how things are, and that's why I'm saying that things need to change. If someone doesn't do anything to stop this, then nothing's ever going to change, and we'll just keep polluting the world with our waste, and nothing will ever change. We'll just keep hurting the world. One of my favorite quotes is from the Lorax, and he said that unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, then nothing is going to get better. It's not. And I love that quote so much, and it just really applies here, because if no one points this out, if no one does anything to stop it, then it's never going to get better. And I don't think I could have said that better. So this week I actually picked up trash for 4 days in a row, and I just wanted to show you guys everything that I found. So let's check it out. Now, while actually seeing all of this trash all over the ground, you actually begin to think, how much actually is there? Because I know it just can't be this one city or this one street. Well, to answer that question, 8 million tons of plastic ends up in the ocean each year. So how much is still on the earth? But 80% of marine debris is actually that plastic. Only 16.5% of plastic that is collected is considered to be recyclable. The rest just ends up in the landfill. Actually, at the Memphis airport, they have some recycling bins there, but instead of getting recycled, it just goes straight to the landfill. At Florida, since their curbside pickup was decided to not work anymore, it was suspended. See, the reason why this is partially becoming so open now and becoming such a big issue at this year is because China stopped accepting recyclables in 2018. So we're coming up on a lot more issues now, even more than before. See, 140 recycling laws were passed in 38 states, which the taxpayers help pay, but a lot of times things aren't even getting recycled at all. It's not working. Foxy actually went to talk to the commissioner about recycling in Cleveland, Ohio. But he refused to talk, and when they went to the mayor, he explained that there was no separate deposit location as of right now because we don't have a contract with a recycling facility. And until they make another contract, then all of our recycling just goes straight to the landfill, and they don't know when that will be. See, there was a sperm whale found in Scotland with 220 pounds of debris in his stomach. See, whales can't tell the difference between krill and plastic, so when they open up their huge mouths to eat, they end up taking in a lot of microplastics as well, which is how the sperm whale ended up. And this happens for a lot of other animals too. See, when plastic food containers are found outside of landfills, animals can get into them, and sometimes it's not for the best, even though they can help with our food waste, because animals weren't meant to eat out of these food containers, so it can cause them to overheat, to suffocate, to die of dehydration or starvation. And they can also eat the plastic as well, just like a sperm whale can accidentally. Or it can prohibit them from being able to move in their regular functions. Like if a piece of plastic got tied around a bird wing, it wouldn't be good for that bird, and it would eventually die because it cannot fly anymore. Or it might just get caught on them and maybe they lose a limb or something like that to just a piece of plastic that we could have avoided using. I also read an article about how a deer had some plastic that was wrapped around his antlers, and he got tangled up with another deer, and they actually ended up dying because they couldn't get untangled from each other. Almost every piece of plastic created still exists here today. And where does that end up? Some of it ends up in the landfill, and others end up at the bottom of the ocean, or the top. See, I recently watched the documentary Plastic Oceans on Netflix, and I really recommend it because it's full of a lot of cool information that I'm sharing on this video today, and just seeing it for yourself is just a whole different story. But they also did a really cool thing where they put a net on the top of the surface and drug it across the ocean with their boat. And through this mesh container, they got tiny pieces of microplastics. And from the surface, from being on the boat, you couldn't see this on top of the ocean. But when you caught it in the mesh bag and got the plastic out, you could actually see across all the ocean there's plastic. Tiny pieces of plastic just floating all over. And this isn't just affecting animals. It's affecting people too. See, people there actually cook with plastic because it's cheaper and it saves money. But it actually causes a lot of issues, like cancer, the flu, and a lot of women are having trouble getting pregnant. See, toxins stick to these plastic. And when fish ingest this plastic, the whales and bigger fish and all of the animals of the sea eat those toxins and those plastics, and we're eating those fish, and that actually ends up in our system as well. So it's not only a fish problem, it's a world problem. See, 92% of Americans ages 6 up have BPA in their system. And kids age 6 to 11 has twice as much as adults. See, the FDA has no regulations on this yet. So we could be eating plastic all the time. Just again to highlight how much there actually is, there's actually a place in LA, Puente Hills, where trash is 500 feet high. It's actually a mountain of trash. Most of the 130 million tons of waste could have been recycled. See, people actually produce over 7 pounds of trash each day. That's per person. See, America isn't doing too hot on this, but Japan and Europe seem to be doing much better. And we usually end up blaming it on a money problem, but that's not actually the case. See, recycling should actually be the last defense for waste, not the first. A lot of people say that recycling takes too much energy and too much time. In the end, it actually saves a lot of energy. When you recycle cans, it saves 96% energy than making new ones. When you recycle glass, it saves 21%, newspaper saves 45%, and plastic bottles save 76%. But that's not also considering the different types of plastic that there are, because it actually can get really complicated. But that's for another video. The first thing that we actually need to do in order to fix this problem is rethink. Rethink why we need to do this and understand, research. We have to know what the problem is in order to fix it. And the next thing is refuse. We need to refuse everything that we don't actually need. And then we need to reduce the consumption of our energy and materials. We can reuse all the items that still have purpose. We can repair all of our items that we break. Like jeans that take 900 gallons of water to produce. Or we can re-gift the items that we don't actually use anymore or need anymore. And then we can also learn to recover and upcycle all of our broken materials or items that we can't repair or reuse any longer. I'm actually a school teacher, so I've reused a lot of plastic materials like shampoo bottles and things like that to make decoration and activities for our kids. But if you cannot do this, there are so many creative ways to reuse your old items. Just YouTube, Google, just take in your resources, whatever you prefer to use, and just have fun with it. And you can also rot or compost all of your food waste, so it can be recycled into new gardening soil, and recycle is then the last thing. That is when you recycle your bottles, your cans, your glass. It's the final last step. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you're interested in more ways to save the planet, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video. Thanks, guys.